Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third Zoom recorded webinar training. Today is going to be over defensive driving for construction vehicles. So as an introduction, defensive driving is a combination of preparation, hazard perception, speed, and space management and attitude. Regardless of the vehicle you drive, a car, pickup truck, utility van, passenger van, or straight truck, the principles of defensive driving remain the same. There's a lot at risk when you get behind the wheel of a company vehicle. Your life and the lives of your coworkers in your vehicle, your company's vehicle and materials or cargo, and your company's reputation. So the definition of defensive driving, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, defines defensive driving as preventing accidents by trying to anticipate hazardous situations and adjusting your behavior to compensate. There's roughly 40,000 people that lose their lives in motor vehicle crashes each year. Vehicle crashes are the #1 cause of on-the-job fatalities. So in 2020, our top unsafe driving behaviors were distracted driving and harsh braking. We utilize Samsara to gather that data and of all the different metrics that are gathered through that distracted driving, whether it be cell phones or eating or drinking while driving, just playing with the radio. There's a lot of different things you can do while you're driving to be distracted. And then harsh braking, which is usually if you're following too close to someone or not paying attention and you have to slam on your brakes, that would trigger a harsh braking event. So some statistics: in 2019, an estimated 38,800 people lost their lives to car crashes. That's a 2% decline from 2018 and a 4% decline from 2017. So we're making some progress with, I think, advances in technology where folks are not as distracted, or the vehicles are manufactured or engineered to be a little more safer and protect drivers. So about 4.4 million people were injured seriously enough to require medical attention in crashes last year, also a 2% decrease over the 2018 figures. And there were a total of 927 fatal car crashes in South Carolina in 2019. Been driving on the interstate, you can see, I think it's a little over 1,000 folks in 2020 lost their lives in South Carolina on the highways. So preparation for before you get on the road, before you start driving, you want to plan your trip. You want to plan the safest and shortest route. Program a navigation app before you leave. I know we've had a couple incidents just within our company where guys were confused of the route they were supposed to be taking or the location they were at, and then they'll make a last second judgment call and not being familiar with the roadway or the environment where they're at, and we'll have incidents. So that's important. If you are going to a location you've never been to before, you want to punch that in on your phone or figure out directions of how to get there before you start driving. You want to make any necessary phone calls before you depart. Your trip plan should also include where you're going, the route you'll take, where you plan to stop along the way, and what time you'll get there. So before you get in the vehicle and start driving, you want to do a pre-trip vehicle inspection. You want to perform a vehicle walk around. Don't assume that everything is in good working condition in your vehicle before you drive it. I know a lot of our vehicles, they'll be shared with other drivers. So you never want to assume, everything was okay with that vehicle when the other person got out of it or when their shift ended. So tires, you want to make sure they're properly inflated. Do they have adequate tread? Do they have any cuts or gouges in the sidewalls? So for lights and reflectors, do the low and high beams work? Do the turn signal lights work? Do brake lights work? Do the flashers work? Do the interior lights work? So a lot of stuff to check before you start your trip, especially a long trip. Windows and mirrors, are the windows and mirrors clean and free from ice and debris? Are there cracks in the windshield or side windows? Does the rear view mirror provide you with an unobstructed view? And are the windshield wipers in good working condition? I know our guys at the parts inventory, they can help you out if you got any of those issues or concerns with lights, windshield wipers, paper towels to clean off, dirt and debris on the windshield. Also, for engine and powertrain, does everything sound right? Does the shifter move freely? Does the accelerator pedal work properly? And does the brake pedal slow the vehicle firmly? Other items you would want to check for a pre-trip: does the horn work? Does the park and brake work? Are there any pools of fluid underneath the vehicle? And are the fluid levels adequate? Brake fluid, transmission, coolant, windshield washer solution. And does the battery have a full charge? So some safety equipment you would want to check for before you start your trip, making sure that the seat belt, it's functioning properly. You don't have any issues or defects with that. Backup alarm, typically you want to be able to hear that alarm 15 feet behind you. If the vehicle is equipped with a dash cam or a Samsara unit, you want to make sure that that's connected, working properly, and has not been damaged or defaced. And a backup camera and the truck bed pressure switch. Some of our trucks have those, some of those don't. So you just want to make sure that that's functioning properly before you start your trip. And if there is a defect, you want to tag that out and do not drive it. Do not put it on the road. You want to get that issue. That would be considered an emergency repair request, and we want to get that looked at before you get that vehicle on the road. So hazard perception. Hazard perception are skills that allow you to see what is happening and help you anticipate what might happen. You want to scan your mirrors and gauges about every 5 seconds. Continuously scan 10 to 12 seconds ahead of your vehicle. Or it would be one city block, about a quarter mile on the highway. Some hazards to be aware of are road conditions, other motorists, pedestrians, road debris, animals, construction zones, and crash scenes. So speed and space management. Excessive speed and following too closely are commonly cited as the leading cause of vehicle crashes. You need time and space to respond appropriately and safely based on the actions of others. Your safety cushion gives you a margin of space for responding to trouble. Passenger cars want to have 2 to 3 second safety cushion. Larger vehicles, a 5 to 6 second safety cushion. So this little formula kind of give you an idea of how far of a total stopping distance you would need. So your perception distance plus your reaction distance plus your effective braking distance would equal your total stopping distance. So depending on how large the vehicle you're driving is, if it's loaded, all that stuff, the conditions, weather conditions, road conditions, speed limit, a lot of that stuff factors into your total stopping distance. And attitude is important whenever you're driving. You do not want to let your emotions get the best of you when you're driving. We've had a couple, and I think there's a video we'll watch here in a minute where one of our drivers got a little frustrated with another driver and lost focus, and it ended up being an incident. So Your attitude can be just as important as your driving skills. You always want to have control over your attitude and how you drive. Driving aggressively or getting upset with other motorists won't get you to your destination any sooner. You know, stay calm and constantly scan to offset the poor driving habits of others. So to stay in control, play the what if game in your mind at all times. Ask yourself, what if that truck pulls out in front of me? So if a vehicle were, you can kind of, if you're scanning ahead and looking, you can kind of see what other drivers are going to do or what other drivers are doing. So you would want to, play that what if game. If that truck were to pull out, how am I going to maneuver or try to be as defensive as possible when driving? What if that car coming up on the left cuts into my lane? What if the guy running down the sidewalk darts out in front of me? When the what ifs happen, how do you react? Ask yourself, do I have an escape route? Is there room to maneuver? Is there enough space behind me to stop in the time without getting rear-ended? All those questions need to be asked whenever you're driving. So distracted driving, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of our top concerns or top risk for our drivers and our vehicles. According to the NHTSA, 80% of all crashes and 65% of near crashes involve some form of driver distraction. Three major types of driving distractions are visual, when you take your eyes off the road, physical, when you take your hands off the wheel, and mental, when your brain is not engaged in the task of driving. Texting while driving is one of the deadliest distractions because it involves all three types of these distractions. All right, we're going to watch a short video on an event that a truck driver was on his phone and ended up having an incident, and there was a fatality involved, and that individual is actually went to jail for manslaughter. So it's a pretty significant video, and I think you guys will get a lot from it.
I play that moment in my head multiple times a day. There wasn't anything I could do. I was out of control. From the time that I looked down at my phone to the time that I looked up, 8 seconds had passed. I never realized how far you travel in 8 seconds.
We see it too often, and Tuesday was another example where someone's killed on our roads for no reason other than someone else's poor choice to make that phone more important than driving. We shouldn't need a law to tell us to pay attention while driving. We should just be paying attention while driving because we know it's the right thing to do. And had that happened on Tuesday afternoon, there's no doubt in my mind that Mr. Bursig would have been home.
He was stopped at a stoplight, and I hit him when I was going 63 miles an hour, and hit so hard that my truck went on top of his car. And I couldn't steer. The brakes didn't do anything. I couldn't do anything.
I've heard the reports that the fire department took hours to get him extracted from the vehicle. That is a haunting image in my mind that I think about all the time.
We'll never get to see our dad again. And it's all because of the 8 seconds that Sam decided to look at his phone.
Robert and I were married on March 23rd of 2013, and he died just short of our 5-year anniversary. He made people feel very welcomed. He was always kind of the life of the party. He was never afraid to laugh at his own jokes. He really cared about humanity, the environment. I have 2 stepkids who are older, and when we were married, he really wanted to have another child, and of course I did too. So Ian was born in 2011, and he just thought it was the best thing. Even though he was an older father, he just looked at it like, how lucky am I to be able to get to do this again. He's missed out on so much. He's missed out on his daughter's wedding. He's missed out on the birth of his grandson. He's missed out on his son graduating from college. And Ian has missed out on not growing up and sharing a lot of those things with Rob that you hope every kid and father get to do. And he missed out simply on, somebody's poor choice. It's been difficult. He misses his dad a lot.
My dad was the most energetic, outgoing, loving, funny guy almost anyone has ever met. He was that guy that just absolutely lights up a room when he steps into it. The big thing that we were planning when my dad was killed was my wedding. He was going to walk me down the aisle. So my uncle Paul, my dad's brother, had to walk me down the aisle because my dad wasn't there. My son was born in June of 2018. I can only imagine what an amazing grandpa he would have been. I feel devastated for my little brother Ian. I feel devastated for my brother Colin. I feel so sad for my son that he never got to meet him and have him as a grandpa. I feel so horrible for my stepmom. It's just so hard to think about the fact that he doesn't get to be here for the world and continue making an impact.
The day of the crash, I was leaving my second to last stop. And I got onto Highway 36 going east towards Wisconsin. And meanwhile, while I was driving, I got a message about a house that my girlfriend at the time was looking at. And I pulled out my phone to look at it, to see what she was talking about. I thought it would be fine. I thought nothing will happen. During those 8 seconds, the time went by so fast. I traveled a lot farther than I ever thought I would have. I looked up just before I hit the vehicle, and my truck went right on top of his car that he had and pushed him all the way through the intersection. And I got out of the truck as fast as I could, and I ran back to the car. By then it sank in fully that it was too late.
When I found out about Rob's passing, we were actually going through a very difficult time. My son was in Children's Hospital, and he had a bad eye infection. He was getting treated for that, and a nurse came into the room, and she had just a grave look on her face. And then a state trooper came over to me and sat me down in a chair and told me the news. And I remember, maybe about 20 seconds of just numb, staring at him, and then having to go into the next room and tell my son that his father was killed in an accident. He immediately started crying, and the first thing he asked me is, will I be able to get a new dad? And that was devastating.
When I think about Mr. Bursick, I think about his family. I think about him being a dad. I think about him being a professor. I think about his greenhouse that he had, which was his business. I think about his kids. You definitely don't want to be that person that takes somebody else's life. You don't want to go to jail over it. You don't want to hurt your own family and their family. At the time of the crash, I was a single dad raising a young son and a young daughter. Over the time I've been in jail, my children have missed out on me being there for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for their Christmas concert. And they've just missed out on me being there every day as I was before. I know in the future my family will get to have me back for holidays. But Mr. Bursick's family won't have him back for any future holidays. It's heartbreaking to know that that happened, to know that I caused that, to know that it's my fault that they won't get to enjoy another holiday with him. I can't say I'm sorry enough. I can't tell you how bad I feel knowing that you have to grow up without your father. I wish I could take it all back. I wish I could change the events. Getting one text and checking one Zillow link led to an entire life of regret, remorse, sadness, heartbreak. I don't think drivers realize how long they're actually looking at their phone, not paying attention to the road. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you wear a suit and tie. It doesn't matter if you wear jeans and boots. It doesn't matter what you do for a job. This can happen to anybody. All it takes is one poor decision.
Every time I hop in my car, I see people driving distracted. And I mean, I just want to stop the person and shake them and tell them, do you have any idea what you're doing right now did to my family? Do you have any idea what that did to my family and what you could do to someone else's?
Hey, Jace. Ian's doing well, responding nicely to the antibiotics.
My dad left me a voicemail updating me on my brother Ian's condition at Children's Hospital the day that the crash happened.
So just wanted to let you know, you're having a good day. I'll talk to you later. Love you, 5.
You know, I mean, we have the memories, yes, but we'll never get to see our dad again. And it's all because of the 8 seconds that Sam decided to look at his phone.
The mission of the State Patrol is to make Minnesota roads safer.
So as you guys can tell, driving distracted is not, it's a, with all the technology and stuff that vehicles have this day and age, it's easy to get distracted. But after watching that video, it's just it doesn't make sense to, whatever you have going on is not as important as what you should be doing, which is focusing on the road and paying attention. So principal actions that cause distracted driving and lead to vehicle crashes are reaching for an object, looking for an object, reading, applying makeup, cell phone use, and distracted driving is dangerous, claiming 2,841 lives in 2018 alone. Among those killed were 1,730 drivers, 605 passengers, 400 pedestrians, and 77 bicyclists. To avoid distraction, always stay focused on your driving and follow these tips. Make and finish all phone calls before you start driving. If your phone rings while you're driving, let voicemail pick up the call. If you absolutely must answer your phone, pull off or put the call on hold, pull over to a safe location, park, and then resume your conversation. So weather hazards when driving, and fog this morning, it was very foggy coming into work. So you always want to drive with your headlights on low beam reduce your speed, watch your speedometer and verify your visibility distance. Don't assume other drivers have their lights on, and use your wipers and defrosters as necessary. Use the right edge of the road or painted road markings as a guide. Rain, so when it's raining, you want to slow down when roads are wet and avoid puddles. Drive in the tire tracks left by the vehicles in front of you. Prevent skids by driving slowly and increase your following distance, especially on curves. If your vehicle has anti-lock brakes and you need to slow down, hold steady pressure on the brake pedal and steer where you want the vehicle to go. If your vehicle does not have anti-lock brakes and braking puts you into a skid, stay off the brake pedal until you regain control, then pump the brakes slowly. Pump the brakes to slow the vehicle safely. So backing, for safe backing, you want to find a spot to park where you won't have to back at all. Back in on arrival, use a spotter if one's available, check blind spots, and look for changes in conditions. Remember the acronym GOAL, get out and look. So if you ever have a scenario or a situation where you don't have a spotter and you can't see behind you, just get out and look. So some key takeaways from defensive driving. Driving defensively means being prepared for anything that might occur on the road. Have a good trip plan and thoroughly inspect your vehicle before you head out. Use constant visual scanning. Maintain a proper safety cushion and take control of your own safety. Drive defensively. All right, so this portion of the presentation, we're going to watch about a half a dozen videos where these were events from our drivers. This is when we were using DriveCam, but there's, like I said, a half a dozen or so different scenarios where drivers were not doing what they should have, but fortunately they did not result in an incident, but they're good coaching tools and good videos to just look at. This first one is looks like a triaxle on Montague right outside the main office, and that speed limit there I believe is 35, and you can see in the bottom in the middle where the yellow highlighted area, I think he maxed out at 52 miles an hour, and on that section of road there's a lot of congestion, a lot of businesses, people, pedestrians walking across the street, so you do not want to be going that fast. So as you can see in that video, a van pulled out from a gas station and he had to perform a quick maneuver to avoid hitting the van. Fortunately, there wasn't anyone in the other lane, but nonetheless, you know, you just need to be aware of your surroundings and not speed. This video is on a late response.
Todd Atwater used his elected office to benefit his employer that paid him a massive salary as a lobbyist legislator, and then he lied about it. Todd Atwater has never been in a courtroom, and he's never prosecuted a case. He can't keep...
Looks like it was on a rural county road, probably a speed limit of 45 or 55 miles an hour. The truck in front put his blinker on, and our driver, it was partly due to the driver in front of him putting the blinker on late, but nonetheless, the following distance was close, and had to slam on his brakes. Okay, this video is of a lowboy going across the Don Holt Bridge. He was in the truck lane and was going to merge over into the center travel lane, and there was a truck coming up beside him, and he had to perform a pretty quick maneuver to avoid hitting another tractor trailer. Oops. Go back. Fortunately, there was not another vehicle on the outside lane where that truck had to get over to compensate for a poor driving maneuver by our driver. Fortunately, no injuries, no incident, but that one was very close. There's another late response pulling up to, I believe there's a stop light.
You know, down here is where it got messed up.
And again, when you're pulling up to an intersection, especially if you're driving a large vehicle, larger truck that's loaded, you just want to assume that that light is probably going to start changing when you get up to it. So you would want to anticipate that light's going to change and be ready to stop. This video, I believe, is going across an intersection where the light turns red. I believe this is a lowboy. And again, even if you're loaded, if you have time to stop, you would want to stop. Really, it's just depends on when you get up to the light, and what sequence that the light's in. Of you got to make that decision. Should I drive through or try to get stopped? That's why in the previous video I mentioned, if you're coming up to a stoplight or coming up to a light, just anticipate that light's probably going to change as you're getting up to it. So just get ready, go ahead and have your foot off the accelerator, get ready to stop. Also in this video, I'm going to show this one more time. Watch the driver and his right hand. You can see he is looking down at his cell phone. So you see that right there. He was distracted, not paying attention, and had to run through the light. Fortunately, no one was coming. This is a unique video. I believe it's a flatbed driver. The employee was singing while he was driving, not paying attention. So, it could be just a mental distraction that makes you lose focus while you're driving. And it appears that this was at night, maybe early in the morning. Just wasn't fully focused driving up to a stoplight. So as you could tell, that light was red, far in advance, just not paying attention, not focused, and had to slam on brakes. So this video, triaxle driver was getting over, it's in the left lane, was getting over to the right lane, had a smaller vehicle, kind of in a blind spot, but those trucks have mirrors, and you should always check all of your mirrors and put your turn signal on. Wait a few seconds before you get over. Looks like they had a big gulp in their hand as well. Let's watch that one more time. If you look in the passenger side mirror, you can see that vehicle coming up along, and they pushed them off the road. So not paying attention and taking time before getting into the other lane. So this is a video where there was an incident that happened that we were not involved with. Our driver did a great job maintaining their lane and not veering off the road or trying to overcompensate or overcorrect to prevent our truck getting involved in this incident. Well, there was right, if you can see ahead, the intersection right there, a vehicle pulls out and gets T-boned by another truck. So right there, good. I'm gonna show that one more time. Good job by our driver, paying attention, being aware of their surroundings, scanning ahead, seeing that incident, maintaining their lane, and stopping or piling through two of those two vehicles. So aggressive driving. After this slide, there's going to be a video. I don't believe there's sound. There might be sound. I don't think there's any lane. No, I think this is when we had sensor and we didn't have sound, but there were probably some words said in there you wouldn't want to say to your mother and some hand gestures that were made. But anyway, aggressive driving results in more than 1,500 fatalities and thousands of serious injuries each year. 56% of fatal roadway crashes are caused by aggressive driving behaviors. Any unsafe driving behavior performed deliberately and with ill intention or disregard for aggressive driving is any unsafe driving behavior performed deliberately and with ill intention or disregard for safety. Obscene gestures, improper and unsafe passing, speeding too fast for conditions, improper and unsafe lane use, and tailgating, and the use of horn out of anger or frustration. So this is the video I was talking about. The white SUV in front of our triaxle truck, appears that they cut our driver off. He got very upset, made some hand gestures, drove way too fast. You can see the speedometer up in the top right corner. Caught up to the vehicle, tried to wave them down, get them to pull over, and then got back into the right lane and hit a vehicle. So just completely distracted, frustrated, not paying attention, and it resulted in an incident. There's the hand gesture you would not make to your mother. You can see him, he's rolling up his sleeves. He's getting frustrated. He's speeding up. He's up to 67, 68. Pull over. He's waving him to pull over. So that little Mini Cooper to the right, keep your eye on it. Still trying to get the guy to pull over. And the next video shows the contact with the Mini Cooper. So fortunately, the driver of that Mini Cooper was okay, minor damage, but could have been much severe. Just our driver was not paying attention. See, there's a car on the shoulder. Could have been a 2 or 3 vehicle incident, all because another vehicle cut them off. They got frustrated, lost focus, and resulted in an incident. And I believe for this specific incident, our driver didn't even know that they hit the other vehicle. They were on the way back to the shop, and that Mini Coupe followed them back to their shop and told them, "Hey man, you just hit me." So again, you can get frustrated and angry and do things and lose focus. So it's always important to stay calm And at the end of the day, you're going to get to where you're going. It might take a little bit longer, but you will get there. So some tips to avoid aggressive driving: allow ample time to get to your destination safely. Obey all posted speed limits and slow down if conditions warrant. Don't tailgate. Following too closely reduces visibility and reaction time. Never attempt to pass a vehicle unless it's safe and you have plenty of time to do it safely. Never make obscene gestures or use your horn out of anger. Remember the 3 B's: be courteous, be patient, and be forgiving. So the next section is on fatigue. So in 2017, there were 795 deaths from drowsy driving related crashes, 4,111 fatalities in motor vehicle crashes involving drowsy driving between 2013 and 2017. There were 91,000 vehicle crashes involving drowsy driving in 2017. So this is a video of, I believe it was one of the paving service trucks. The driver was, you can't see it because his face is blurred out, but his head was nodding, he was falling asleep, and ends up driving onto a sidewalk and takes out about 3 mailboxes.
To have it repaired. Just dial **1248 on your mobile phone now to see if you qualify. You must have an automobile made from 1999 for your engine, transmission, and much more.
So let's watch that one more time. So if you just think about it, this is an area, I think there was a school nearby, there could have been children on the sidewalk. Fortunately, the only casualty was the 3 mailboxes, but it could have been much more severe, much worse. So if you're driving while you're tired, while you're fatigued, the best thing you can do is pull over and take a short nap. You know, putting down the window, drinking a cup of coffee, cranking the radio up. Those are just short-term fixes. Your body needs rest, your brain needs rest. So the best thing you can do is just pull over and take a short nap. So the next section's on backing vehicles. So some common causes of backing incidents are backing unnecessarily, blind areas, vehicle design, infrequent backing practice, inadequate preparation for backing, and inadequate information during backing. So backing unnecessarily. So as you approach your destination, search for a parking site where you won't have to back in at all. This site will present the lowest accident potential. So this diagram shows one where you can pull through. If you're pulling into a parking lot or in an area where you can think, all right, well, whenever I go to leave here, what's going to be the easiest way to get out where I would not have to back out? So in this case, if there's an open area, just pull straight through, and then you don't have to worry about backing at all. But in the event, the second little green truck, you can back into parking spots. That way, whenever you go to leave, you've scanned the area, you found your spot, you can back in, and when you're pulling out, you have full visibility of where you're going. But also be thinking about, you know, the size of your vehicle. If you have a pickup truck that's longer, or you have a trailer, obviously you probably would not want to back into tight areas, tight confined areas. This diagram shows blind spots of a vehicle. As you can see, almost 50% of the viewing area is in a blind spot. So with that in mind, you want to factor that in before you go to backing. So vehicle design, rear wheels leading the front wheels. This creates an awkward relationship between front of the vehicle and the rear of the vehicle. So when preparing to back, look for and consider all objects that could be potentially dangerous. If you're not absolutely sure of conditions in blind areas, do a walk around inspection. Just same thing as that acronym GOAL, get out and look. Use a spotter if one is available. For parking in stalls, back in on arrival. Another big thing you want to do, if you've been in a vehicle for a long time or been away from your vehicle for a long time and you hop in and drive off, you want to look for any change in conditions behind your vehicle before backing. As you can see here, some photos where some guys were standing behind vehicles, pull up behind you and you don't know that they're back there. The one picture on the right is looks like a tack truck that had some damage due to a vehicle backing into it. So for backing safely, you want to scan the entire area. Never overlook the possibility of an unknown or forgotten object that your front quarter can get hit when you might turn the vehicle during backing, and move your vehicle slowly. I believe this photo was taken of one of our project managers on a job site where a pedestrian just decided to hop down and take a break, take a little quick 5-minute break on the side of the road. And you know, he was parked there for probably a substantial period of time, and then gets in his vehicle to take off and notices there's a guy sitting right behind him. So you never know what you're going to run into. Next section is on overhead power lines. I know we covered this in the Fatal 4 with electricity, but just a quick reminder and refresher for power lines when you're driving, especially driving with vehicles with beds that can be raised and lowered. So you want to assume all overhead lines are carrying electricity. Break contact with the overhead line if you can. If you can safely back away from the line, move at least 30 feet away from it. If you cannot back away safely from the line, stay put. Do not exit the vehicle or attempt to move the line yourself. This can result in electrocution. Call 911 and wait in your vehicle or equipment until authorities arrive and the scene is secured. If there are workers on foot nearby, instruct them to move at least 30 feet away. If you must exit the vehicle due to imminent danger from a fire, jump away from the cab and shuffle or hop with both feet to a distance of at least 30 feet. Do not step. All right. I am going to look at the questions and see if we have any. If any of you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask those. I'll give you a couple minutes. If you're thinking of anything, just type it in the Q&A and I'll answer it. Otherwise, we are finished, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to view this today.